Guys, so today we're going to do a cutting for albino clutch. It's a champagne albino to a pastel het albino. I have 5 eggs. We had 2 slugs. And one of the eggs is kind of on the small side and has a little bit of mold growing on the bottom that I was using athlete's foot powder on to try to keep the mold from spreading. So hopefully that one will still be alive. I believe it's alive in there because otherwise the egg would have molded out and it would probably be smelling pretty bad. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this one first. Last year I ended up with a albino, a pastel champagne albino, a normal female, and a pastel male out of the clutch. I held back the pastel champagne albino because that was a female. I was kind of hoping to hit a pastel champagne het albino. What do we got? That is got... Wow, it looks like there's paradox in here. So, it looks like we have an albino. Let me focus the camera a little bit. You see that paradox? So it's pretty on the light side. This may be a pastel champagne albino. The pastel champagne albino I hatched out last year started out very white looking. So this one is pretty interesting looking. Can't wait to see what it looks like when it gets out with that paradox. Oh, I don't know, there's some color in it. I don't know if, maybe it's not albino, maybe it's just a pastel champagne. I've never hatched out a pastel champagne. So it's possible that could be what it is. Pretty interesting. It's definitely alive, I can see it moving. So that's awesome. I was worried because there's a lot of mold on the bottom. Let's see, egg number 2. What are we going to get? What do you think we're going to get? What do you think? You think it's going to be a pastel champagne albino? It looks awfully white. Alright, this is definitely... Alright, I think this is a pastel champagne. Wow. Yeah, look at that head. Can you get in there? Bring the camera up and over. So I think this is going to be a pastel champagne. I've never hatched a champagne that was not albino. But based on how white this is and the pattern that's in it, I am assuming that this is going to be a champagne. pastel champagne. Because there's pattern in this, and I think that first one's going to be the same thing. I don't think these are albino at all. I think we hit 2 pastel champagne 100% het albinos so far. And this one's albino. You get in there? It is definitely not a champagne albino. This is going to be a regular albino, and judging by how light colored the head is, it could possibly be a pastel albino, but we'll have to wait and see until it comes out of the egg. It looks like a pastel. So this one right here is going to be a pastel, 100% het albino. Last egg. What are we gonna get? Huh? What are we gonna get? You don't want to talk? You camera shy? Being scared? Don't want anybody to hear your voice? You don't feel good? What's it gonna be? What's it gonna? Looks like it might be albino. It looks like it might be albino. It's albino, but is it champagne albino? It's not champagne albino. It is... Okay, I think this is a pastel albino. So that last one is not quite as whited out as this one is. So, okay. This one looks like it's going to be a pastel albino. The other one, I believe, is just going to be a regular albino. So it's looking like we hit a pastel albino, a normal albino, a pastel 100% het albino, and 2 pastel champagnes, 100% het albino. Pretty decent odds. 2 albinos in the clutch, 2 pastel champagnes. I think that's pretty good odds. I like those odds. To be honest, I prefer normal albinos over champagne albinos. The pastel champagne albino is really pretty. But just regular champagne albinos don't do it for me, really. My little camera buddy over here is having a hard time focusing. So yeah, that's it. Pretty good odds. I'm happy. I'm going to get these guys back in the incubator, and in a couple days they should be starting to crawl out. There's the one I thought that was going to be an albino with paradox. But there's definitely some ghosted pattern going through the whole thing. It still could be a little bit of paradox. but it's definitely looking like it's a pastel champagne, and I'm happy with that. So, all right, that's it, guys.
Later.